As I continue to grow the SqWAYre Tools brand, needless to say, guitar making tools are at the top of my brainstem because I'm making so many guitars these days. But like I've always said, when I started the SqWAYre Tools company, it was all about making tools that don't exist and finding things that, to fill niches that I feel like aren't filled in the guitar tool making world. And so even when I make a tool that already exists, like the SqWAYre Rocker, it has some features to it that don't exist on basically any of the other brands out there. And so here's another tool that I want to add to the guitar making tools over at sqwayrtools.com. It is the notched fret ruler, which any guitar maker is familiar with, but mine has this one other feature that you might find useful, besides the fact that it costs a heck of a lot less than it does from the leading guitar tool makers in America. If you don't know what this tool is, you probably don't need one, but basically it's a straight edge with notches designed to fit over the guitar fret scale on a neck, so you can make sure that the wood part of your neck is flat before doing any work on the metal part. This is kind of crucial to getting a good setup. So you can see that little tiny bit of gap that it's showing me in the middle. I can see that there's a tiny bit of relief there that needs to be taken out before I do any fret work. My tool does double duty. It's also a fret scale ruler, so the notches are a little bit wide and you can't use them to create fingerboards, but I added these very precise holes along the fingerboard in two scales, 24.75 and 25.5 inches, so I can go and make two dots on my blank, and then using a straight edge like my SqWAYre with the SqWAYre edge, I can connect those two dots and I have perfectly straight lines that are all lined up and where the fret slots need to be, so I can cut them in whatever way I want to with a saw or whatever. Now, I personally use a CNC, so I don't need to do this, but I know a lot of guitar makers do this, and I've done this myself by hand in the past, and it's time consuming and a pain in the neck, and so this is just one way to make that maybe a little bit easier instead of printing out paper templates and tracing them onto your fingerboard. So now, of course, to do the whole fingerboard, you'd cut the slots while everything's nice and square, and then you'd find the center of your board with a tool such as the center SqWAYre, and use that to then figure out the width of the nut and the heel and all that, and cut it, right? Makes life a little bit easier, and that's, again, what the whole idea of SqWAYre Tools is finding ways to make all these jobs a little bit easier, a little bit better. Now, I'm not a big company, and I don't really want to be. I'm just me, and I make and sell things out of my workshop. And it's companies like Send Cut Send and technology like this Thunder Laser Fiber Laser that make it possible for me to be growing this tool line this way in relatively small batches. I can get the price right by making as few as 10 to 20 pieces at a time, and then using my tools can finish off with the etching and the labeling and stuff and doing all the finessing before I put them in my store. And this is a way I can make them without having to make this huge commitment to space and money and resources and making a large batch of hundreds of them. I can just sort of keep them in stock as I need to for you, because I really don't advertise anywhere else. By the way, I'm running this video in real time so you can see how fast this fiber laser works, and this ruler is too big to do all of it at once, so I did it in 3 sections, and doing this part in the middle took 40.9 seconds. Now I have to set it up a little bit carefully so it hangs over the edge, and I can just put which scale is on which side. I made it right side up for when you're looking at it, so you would know quickly which side is 24.75 inches and which side is 25.5. I just grabbed some tape to make a mark to make it easier to line up the next one, and this one took 27.2 seconds. I don't go crazy on the quote tool porn end quote fit and finish. I just scuff them up to a matte finish and make them ready to get used and dirty in your shop. And other things you'll notice on mine that other fret rulers don't do is I have a little extra notch there for my nut in the end, and then it slants at the end in case there's a pickup, because I found in some instruments the fret ruler actually hits parts of the guitar and gets in the way, and so this will hopefully help eliminate some of that. Now, I've designed these for a whole bunch of different scales, including bass scales and some of the less common scales that I use that I've cut out for myself out of plastic and whatnot. And if if this is a product that continues to sell in the store, I'll start introducing all those other scales as well. But this is just your basic 25.5 and 24 3/4 inch guitar scales with the ability to make fingerboards right off of this, as well as do all your setup work and everything that you would normally use this tool for. And it's available, guess what, only at sqwayrtools.com. Be good.